Hello, thanks for coming. We're going to get started right on time. I have three great panelists here for you across different commodities and sort of at different stages of the mining cycle and the different points in the trajectory of the life cycle of a mining company. We have a good representation here. I have Greg Beischer, CEO of Millrock Resources. I have Warren Stanyer, Chairman and CEO of ALX Uranium, and I have Stephen Quin, President, CEO, and Director of Midas Gold. So this is a prospect generator, multi-commodities, multi-jurisdictions. ALX is sort of similar, but just uranium in Athabasca Basin, and then Midas is developing quite a large gold project in Idaho, sort of at the feasibility permitting stage, well advanced. So I'll let you talk about your projects as we close, but I just want to jump right into it. 1, 2, 3. What are you most excited about current state of affairs as it relates to your companies, your projects, and the current market? Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. You know, it's funny how it goes, really. Millrock's been in business now for 12 years, generating early stage exploration projects. We've plugged along. We haven't made a giant discovery yet, but we've done our very best. Alaska's one of our focus areas. That's where I'm from, where I live. But the project I'm most excited about is one where I can't really even claim any brilliant geological move or expertise. It just so happens, though, that we have claims right beside a mine. And the mine has made a new discovery of gold that appears to be really significant, and it looks like the new deposit might come right onto Millrock's claims. So after all these years of looking for an ore body, it could be that an ore body found us.
You and I were talking yesterday. It seems like they're drilling out an ore body that continues onto yours, and as an explorationist, that's exciting stuff. You might have a shot on goal at a defined ore body that goes right onto your property. So from an exploration standpoint, very exciting. Warren, what's exciting with ALX in uranium?
Well, our story is similar to Greg's. The trend is our friend. So at Hook Carter, we are fourth in line where the Triple R deposit was found in 2012. Mm-hmm. In 2014, the Arrow deposit was first discovered by NextGen, and then in 2014 also the Spitfire occurrence by the PurePoint Orano Chemical joint venture, which led to Dragon and a couple of other occurrences. We are next in line. So we're looking forward to Denison's drilling program, which is happening right now. They're on the first hole. They're an extremely experienced group. We have a lot of respect for how they do things. They've got discoveries under their belt. We hope that Hook Carter's the next one.
And are we exploring similar to how those other deposits were found in the basement, sort of the unconformities?
We're looking at both styles of mineralization. There are basement targets. There's other that could be unconformity targets as well. You don't know exactly when something's 400 to 500 meters down what you're going to find, but it could be either.
Exciting with a strong partner. Stephen?
Sure. I think we're at the other end of the development spectrum. So we've gone through the exploration, discovery, resource definition, pre-feasibility, etc. And we're about halfway through the permitting, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel with a feasibility study coming down the road this year, and a draft EIS and final permitting next year, and then we start building one of North America's biggest gold mines.
Have you seen any change in the permitting process with the new administration, or has it been sort of the same as it was?
I think there's a big inertia in the U.S. system. Everybody talks about checks and balances in the U.S. system, and it takes a long time to filter through. So, I would say the attitude is more pro-development, etc., particularly at the more senior levels. But the day-to-day sort of running of the regulatory process really hasn't changed significantly, I would say, under the current administration.
So I'd second that, Nick. In Alaska, with federal permitting, we've just seen a change in general attitude as far as the regulators go.
And even in some projects I follow in Nevada, for example, they've seen the streamlining of the process handed down from higher levels of government saying we're looking to streamline this and just approve them in a more speedy type fashion. All three of you obviously have done well executing in what's been a prolonged, tough environment for resource stocks. It's no secret that 2018 was, I'd call it abysmal. It was quite a depressing year for resource stocks and prices, but nonetheless, all of you are executing. You're partnering projects, you're bringing in partners if you're developing or if you're exploring, and you continue to push Stibnite forward. You had a big investment from Barrick last year, and all of us have been here multiple years in a row. I just want to get your take on where are we in the cycle? How upbeat is this conference? How does it compare to previous years? Just where are you at psychologically?
Well, from my standpoint, Nick, it's been a really long downturn. I can't help but be the optimist and think that it's about to turn. But on the other hand, bad times, down cycles, are really good for generators like us. Over the last years, we've picked up all kinds of great gold and copper projects at rock bottom prices. And so I just look forward to the day knowing how cyclical a business it is, that one day these properties are going to be really valuable. We're going to be doing all kinds of exploration and make that transformative discovery that propels Millrock share price. So I'm ready for the down cycle to be over, quite frankly.
Of course.
But it allows us to build out our portfolio, and I think our portfolio of exploration projects is second to none. It's almost as good as any major mining company in the jurisdictions we operate, Sonora and Alaska.
And has the phone started ringing the other way yet? So you've been picking up projects, you just said, in the downturn, which is a good time to do that, but has the phone been ringing yet on your end, people sniffing around to potentially option or partner on those projects? And any specific commodity?
Yeah, two years ago, we saw the majors come back, and so their budgets had obviously increased, and they were ready to shopping and wanting to buy up projects or start exploring again. But we haven't really seen it very much on the junior side at all. There's not much investment capital available for junior companies to do grassroots exploration.
Warren.
I would say what we've gone through has been somewhat biblical, where there are 7 years of feasting and 7 years of famine. So I think the 7 years is just about over of the famine, and it's time to feast again. Uranium has taken it on the chin pretty hard. Mm-hmm. There's a big surplus there. We discussed this last year or several months ago. It's hundreds of millions of pounds. I mean, it's kind of a shell game as to where it is and who's got it. But I think we all know that. I mean, with McArthur River shutting down, that was a big step to bite into the surplus that's out there. Mm-hmm. So here we are, kind of a flat spot, but we believe that a discovery does ignite the public's interest. So we're going to keep going and keep drilling, and if we find something really substantial, then we'll get rewarded.
I think lots of pieces have been put in place on the uranium side, not just McArthur River, but Kazakhstan, the Yellow Cake Fund that's been created. Underfeeding has really come off in the last couple of months, and I think we're just waiting for the utilities at this point. I think that's the next main catalyst. Stephen, how depressing is gold?
Well, I think gold's sort of in between. It's the not too hot, not too cold. It's
Goldilocks.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps trying to bump its way above 1,300, and we've tried it again and again. So there's just a lack of conviction in the investor world that is this yet another aborted rally that will end in February or March. PDAC is usually the end.
Mm-hmm.
Is this finally the time is starting to push through? I mean, there's definitely, I would characterize as broader interest this cycle than we've seen, and you can look at the attendance at conferences like this and things like that. So maybe it's more positive, but we got to see it break through and sustain itself beyond PDAC.
And do we truly need a bull market? I mean, everybody wants a bull market, clearly. That's when, pick your analogy, pick your phrase, it's when all ships rise, it's when all turkeys fly or whatever. But nonetheless, even in the past couple of years, quality stories and quality discoveries have been rewarded. Companies like Cisco and Great Bear have clearly had appreciating share prices. Do we truly need a bull market in commodities, or can quality stories and quality companies gain a following and have good liquidity and sort of make it in the environment we're in? Let's start at the end with Stephen, and we'll come back down.
Sure. I mean, we've been able to finance through, very challenging times and raise substantial amounts of money. But I think there's a couple of aspects. It comes at a price, which is dilution. It's more expensive money than it would have been. And you're also permanently capital constrained. So could you do more? Could we have done more exploration, made the deposit bigger? Yes, but we chose that you had to either spend that or choose to go into the permitting process. So you're always capital constrained, and that does introduce some discipline on capital expenditures and so on. But I think the industry has been over constrained. It's been in that famine period for too long. And that does set it up for the next boom cycle. I mean, you look at commodities like copper. Where's it all going to come from in 5 or 10 years? And and that sets up the next boom. But I think we're just kind of in that not certain position at the moment where it's not booming and it's not busted. And so you struggle on, but you are good projects raise capital, and we companies like us have been able to.
And is that okay with you? I mean, do you long for a bull market, or do you wake up every day and it doesn't matter what the price of gold is? I mean, you just keep your head down and work.
I mean, I made this quote at a conference last year, where I would like to see a bull market is about a year and a half from now.
Once you get approved.
Because that's when I've got approval and I'm going to try and raise $1 billion for build a mine. And I'd much rather have a bull market then than today, when I can't really do much about it, right?
Got it. Warren?
I think that, again, discovery just ignites everything, and that's what we're after in uranium, because what we're looking for in the Athabasca is the most lucrative commodity in the world. The mines are the richest mines in the world per ton. Value per ton is between $5,000 and $20,000. Just peg it at the price, and so we need to make a discovery, a new one. We've got people that are here that have come to this conference that are interested in uranium, and people that I didn't expect. So I think there's a lot of people out there noticing that uranium has been in this long flat spot, and it's time for it to step up, and they want to invest now. So I don't know if we need a bull market. We're still kind of a niche market, so it may not be for all commodities all at the same time.
There's a couple, outside financiers, Wall Street guys that have come into the uranium space that have identified that it's due for a gold bull or due for a bull market, and I think you'll see that more and more. And obviously, that's what we need for the equity prices to rise is outside capital, because everyone in this room is already invested or thinking about investing, and so we got to take it to that next level to get outside people in. Greg?
Yeah, do we need a bull market? This is a crazy business, especially early stage exploration. Not only is it really, really tough to find a brand new mineral deposit, but it almost seems like you have to do it at the right time on top of all that. But I say that a bit tongue in cheek. The reality is there have been a couple of good discoveries lately. Shareholders of those companies have been rewarded. And the more we get of those, the more it's going to attract investors back to our space. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, it's a catch-22. If we don't spend money on exploration, we can't make discoveries. So to me, a bull market's a great thing to have. They don't last very long, and but really now's the time to get prepared for it. We're 6 or 7 years into a down cycle. It's bound to come soon, and whether you're a gold development story, a uranium explorer, or early stage copper gold explorer, now's the time to get ready for better times.
Two of the three of you mentioned timing, and timing is something I want to talk about a bit. How important is timing? I'm not talking from a company perspective now. I'm talking about for the audience and the people watching the video. How important is timing when you're thinking about wading into an equity? Stephen said he'd rather a gold bull market in a year when the approval process is done. When it comes to Warren's company, should we be waiting until closer to drill results from Carter, from Denison, and the same with Millrock? Should we wait until this ore body that you're excited about is defined, or is now the time to get in? And keep in mind when you answer this question that when we get bull markets in resources, it happens fast. And so I tell people, if you're not in when it turns, you miss the lion's share of the gains. And that's just how I think about it. But I'd love to hear from all three of you.
Well, I'll go first on that one. I think about mineral exploration properties the same way I think about mining stocks. Right now, I see so much opportunity, so many cheap things out there. Well, gosh, I could buy it all. I could stake up so much, but if I deploy all the cash, well,
no dry powder.
If it goes on too long, then I'll run out of money. So I tell my kids as investors the same thing. Well, buy a little bit, just keep buying a little bit all the time in this down cycle, and then at some point it's going to pay off big.
When I played Monopoly, I always bought Baltic and Mediterranean and all the cheap properties because that was a way to generate income faster. So I believe that there's a lot of cheap stocks out there right now, including ALX. So I agree. This is a time to buy, and people should just buy it like dollar cost averaging. Just keep buying. So that's my advice.
It's so tough out there, and Monopoly is so tough. Last year they came out with Monopoly Cheaters Edition, where you're encouraged to cheat. Let's not bring that to the resource space. Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, I would characterize it as whether you're an investor versus a trader. And there's trading opportunities, which just a bull market, you buy anything, doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent, it'll probably go up and you'll make money. But, I much prefer to have investors looking at our company, people who are looking at the quality of that asset, and they're sticking with you for the longer term, and you deliver value no matter what the market is. But on top of that, if there's a bull market added to that, you kind of get the double benefit. And so, speculation, trading opportunities, they'll always be there. A discovery hole that, could drive the stock up, and, you never find anything else after that hole. Well, that was a trading opportunity. But you discover a big new deposit, that's an investment opportunity. So, looking at, more for investors than traders.
Gentlemen, thank you. We're under 4 minutes left, which means you each have 1 minute to remind everyone the name of your companies, what you're doing, and perhaps your ticker symbol.
Thanks, Nick. So Millrock's early stage project generator company, Alaska's home base. We explore all over that great state, and the state of Sonora in northwest Mexico. We've got a fantastic portfolio of exploration projects, primarily gold and copper. And the value proposition is Millrock's trading today at 10 or 12 cents. And I just know that in the coming years will be worth a lot more than that.
And has just raised a bit of cash as well.
ALX Uranium Corp as a dedicated uranium explorer. We also have branched out a little bit into energy metals lately in Saskatchewan, into nickel, copper, cobalt properties. There's so many opportunities in Saskatchewan. It's a great jurisdiction, one of the best in the world according to the Fraser Institute. So we're happy to be there. Permitting is very straightforward. Consultation, sure, with Indigenous groups, but we get our permits and we can go to work. So the main thing is getting the money. And we have some money. We have a couple of $1 million of working capital. But again, our biggest project right now is the Hook Carter. There's drills turning, and we could be next in line for discovery on that trend.
Expected results, next catalyst?
It's probably going to be a couple of months. I mean, it's Denison's the operator, and they're conservative about how they report. And we're at booth 413.
Perfect.
Our trading symbol is AL, Alpha Lima, on TSX Venture. Please come and see us.
And Millrock is MRO-MLRKF, I believe, OTC. Stephen?
Sure. So Midas Gold, MAX on the TSX. We're also OTCQX traded. We're at booth 329, which is just around here to the left, if you want to stop by. And we're developing one of the largest, highest grade, lowest cost gold mines in North America, produce about 350,000 ounces a year over at least a 12-year life. It costs around $600 per ounce, all-in sustaining costs. So very attractive project in final stages of permitting, feasibility coming, and hopefully starting development soon.
And significant resource upside, I would add as well. Gentlemen, all three of you, thank you very much for the quality discussion. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you all.